How to create a plenum slot diffuser using PractiCAD grills. PractiCAD has a grill type that was designed to facilitate the cataloging of plenum slot or linear slot diffusers. In this exercise, we're going to focus on a Titus submittal sheet. We're going to create a TDF catalog of plenum slot diffusers. The entity itself, you can see here, is a basic plenum box. We have dimensions for height and width. Dimensions are here for length. We're getting a major and minor for the oval tap. The only parameter that seems to be missing currently is the offset from the tap to the top of the box. Otherwise, the tap seems to be centered left to right. So what we need to do first is go into PractiCAD, and we need to go into the library icon on your PractiCAD ribbon. And we're going to focus on the architectural section here. On the left-hand side, we need to make sure that we go to architecturals, and we're just going to hit the little plus key. PractiCAD is going to open up the list of choices. In this tutorial, we're going to focus on grills, and in particular, we're going to focus on the grill supply side oval neck. This has the proper parameters we need in order to catalog this plenum slot. So what we're going to do here is we're going to create a new catalog, and to do that, we're just going to hit create a new catalog, and then we're going to name it whatever we want. We'll name this Titus TDF slots, and go and hit enter. I like to use capital letters whenever I'm naming my catalogs. It makes it easier to report the name later. I try to keep it consistent. I recommend doing the same. Now what we need to do is create a new item. Before we do that, we're just going to open up by maximizing our library section, and now we're going to hit the green checkbox to create a new item, and we're going to call this 6-inch Titus TDF to start. That's going to be the first size. Now before we move on, we should look at the different parameters that PractiCAD is giving us for this specific entity. First, you can see we actually have a length, width, and height, and they're all currently set to 0. What we have the ability to do is, besides just a plenum box itself, you can also have a lip or a flange or a face that's bigger than the box itself. It can be used for a variety of reasons, but you can see here that if we took the length and made it 28, and then the width made it 12, and then the height 10, you can see that we've got a box basically underneath the plenum box itself. And you can see the width parameter, length and parameter, and of course your height parameters. And essentially, this can be used for a variety of things, but in this exercise, we only need the dimensions of the plenum box itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of that extra section by making these values 0. And now all we're left with is the dimensions of the plenum box and then the actual tap itself. And that's all we need for this particular submittal. So plenum length is 24 inches currently. We're going to go into our PDF. We're going to scroll down and see what we've got here. For our first 6 and 8 inlets oval, we use 24-inch length. So the length parameter is already set for us. Now we're going to go to plenum width. And we can see by just moving this parameter up and down which parameter that's controlling. And on our sheets here, we can see that that is actually dictated by this value right here, 3 and 5/8. So we're going to type in 3.625 for that value, and we're going to say plenum width will be 3.625 and hit enter. So now we've got it. The plenum height is also dictated on the sheet. You can see it's right here. The height is 10 inches for the plenum box. So we're going to switch and make that 10. Now we have neck major and neck minor. Let's look on our submittal sheet. It seems that the minor is 5 1/4, but the major changes. It's specified by parameter A here, and you can see we got standard inlet size. A should be 6 1/4 for 6-inch, and then 9 3/8 for 8-inch. So we're going to make the minor 5 1/4 and the major 6 1/4. So we come right here and say major 6 1/4, minor 5 1/4, and now we've got the proper opening for this particular 6-inch size. We have neck height. Neck height, as you can see, is another parameter that's not specified, but that for us would be how far this particular opening sticks out of the plenum box. Probably best if you're not given a parameter to measure one of these actually and put it in your PractiCAD catalog so that your distance is correct. Right now we're just going to leave it as 2 inches, but you can see that extends the length of the tap per se. It's called neck height. Now we have neck offset X. Notice that it's currently set to 0 and it's centered on the box. 0 keeps it centered for this particular entity. So if we were to raise the parameter, it would offset it left to right. But on our submittal, the offset X is centered. So we're just going to put it at 0. Then we have neck offset Y, and that is the distance from the top of the neck to the top of the plenum box. And that is also not listed on our submittal. So what we've got it here is right now 1 7/8, 1.875. And this was done just by measuring the actual distance. It might vary for you, but in this exercise, we're just going to give it neck offset Y. That's going to be the space between the top of this neck and the top of the box. Now we've got the parameter for airflow. If we want to associate a CFM with this particular box, we can do it right here, or we can freely type this in as we place it on the drawing. And of course, we can also give it a model number, and both of these properties can be reported or tagged later on. So we've built one box. Now once we've got one built, we're just going to hit create a new item while this is highlighted, and then we're going to call it 8-inch Titus. And what we've done is made a copy of exactly what we just did. So a lot of these parameters are going to be the same. The big difference for this was going to be that the neck major is going to be larger for the 8-inch. But the plenum length and plenum width and height are all the same. So we're going to say neck major, which was 9 3/8. So 9.375. And that's the only property we really need to change, because everything else is going to stay the same. And that's the nice thing about using catalogs and copying everything, is we don't need to change all the parameters. After you build the first one, the second and third get much easier. So what we've done is we've created a catalog with two items for Titus TDF. So we're going to hit the save key, and then what we're going to do is going to bring them into our architectural bins. And now we're going to exit out. Now all we need to do is open up our bin. We're going to grab a Titus TDF slot, and we're going to choose the one we want. We're going to say use the 8-inch, and we're going to place it on the drawing wherever we'd like to place it. Remember, you can rotate these on any X, Y, and Z plane. But here's what we've got is we've got a preset, already made plenum slot diffuser right out of the catalog. So that'll conclude how to design a plenum slot diffuser in PractiCAD.